Hello, everybody. This is Jeff Forrester with the Tribulation Institute. I'm your host today, and today is Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. I have a very important program today, and I'm going to call this series that I'm going to start called 2020 Vision. You know, we've all heard the saying that hindsight's 2020. Well, I want to see if we can't prove that, or see if insight can be 2020. You know what I mean by that is, can we go by biblical prophecy that is talking about the end times, the last days before Yeshua's return to the earth, last 7 years, of which the last 3.5 is the Great Tribulation. So those prophecies that speak about that, I believe, in which I have taught for at least 20 years, that sometime in the future, 20 years ago, there'd be a war with Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And we all know that war began with Iraq, then Syria entered, that was in 2002, and then Syria, I believe, came into the picture around 2010 or 2009, somewhere around there. Yet Iran, or at least publicly, has not entered into that picture. I think they have. And the prophetic works of the Bible that talk about that is in the book of Daniel. It also does in Revelation as well. But the one that's talking about the book of Daniel is the ram and the he-goat prophecy of a war to come between a leader of the East, a leader of the West, Grecia, and four leaders over in the Middle East. And one of them entices the rest to move against this king of the West, which I believe is the United States of America, which is most definitely the superpower of the West. And who's the superpower of the East? Well, I guess that's debatable. At least in the Persian nations, that would be Iran. In the Arab nations, that would probably be Saudi Arabia, but the biggest one over there is Turkey, which we'll get into in some issues to come. I've already talked a little over 3 minutes, hadn't even got into my story yet. I just got through watching the President of the United States speak today, about 30 minutes ago, which we were informed earlier in the morning, and my morning started about 4:30 a.m. this morning, that he would be on at, I forget what time, Eastern time, 9 o'clock, I guess, whatever. So anyway, make a long story short, I knew about an hour ahead of time, at least I became aware of it about an hour ahead of time, that he would be addressing the nation from the White House concerning the Iranian missiles that were fired into two of our Army bases Tuesday night before I went to bed, about 7 o'clock Eastern time, I believe, somewhere around there, or 5. The time's not relevant. What is relevant was the short, in my estimation, the short speech that our president gave us today. What I want to address is, man, it was really weird. I'm thinking, and I'm reading live chat, is what I'm seeing is a picture of the media in the White House waiting for the president to start his speech at 9 o'clock. And we see the cameras in the back of this room. I don't know which wing of the White House it was, it doesn't matter. and we see the media seated, and we see the podium, and our flag on the side of the podium. In the back, we see these two big doors. So, assuming the president's going to come through those doors, which I was right, no big deal there. But the entrance is what I want to talk about as well. I want to talk about three things. He made everybody wait, and then he walks through those doors, through the light. As the doors open, the light shines, and out from this bright white light comes Donald Trump. So, I'm going to discuss those things. The relevancy of those two, of him making everybody wait, and the light. Okay? You go, what are you talking about, Jeff? Amory, or whatever you call me by. I have two names. I got a bunch of aliases, but we won't get into all that. Here we go. So here's this speech that I'm going to give a little insight into, I believe, hopefully, here on 2020 Vision. Trump said there'd be no nuclear weapons for Iran. He made a point about that throughout his speech. He also made a point throughout his speech that based on the 12 or 15 missiles that were fired into those two Iraqi bases where we had American soldiers last night, that it seemed that Iran was standing down. Trump did go and say, well, we removed most of the soldiers there, which implies that if they were there, that Iran, that there would have been casualties, of which the response from our president would have been heavy-handed. He's already told us before. But he wanted to seem like reiterate that we knew in advance, and that we removed it. Their intelligence is really good, and that that's debatable, I suppose. And that he removed their troops, therefore there were no casualties. So he'll take that as Iran standing down. He said that Iran's terrorist days are over. But then he goes and then he makes some vows. He says, I'm going to impose stiffer sanctions on Iran. Now, which is kind of, I want to stop there pause there for a second. You have to remember that where we're at right now, kind of so to speak, well, especially as far as these sanctions are going, we put, their economy is decimated, okay? They're behind the 8 ball. So if our sanctions are doing such a great job, which I believe they are, and we've crippled their economy. So what else does he have left at his disposal as far as sanctions directed at Iran?